In the glittering yet unforgiving world of Hollywood auditions, where dreams are often measured in callbacks and close calls, Lizzy Caplan's journey to securing her breakout role as the sharp-tongued, goth-inspired Janis Ian in the cult classic Mean Girls stands as a testament to sheer grit and unyielding passion. At just 43 years old now, Caplan looks back on that pivotal chapter of her career with a mix of nostalgia and hard-won wisdom, sharing intimate details during a candid conversation with fellow actor Penn Badgley on his podcast, Podcrushed. What began as an almost obsessive desire to inhabit the world of Tina Fey's razor-witted script evolved into a grueling multi-stage battle that tested her resolve, pushed her creative boundaries, and ultimately catapulted her into the spotlight as one of the film's most memorable supporting characters. Caplan's connection to Mean Girls was instantaneous and profound, the kind of rare spark that ignites an actor's soul and refuses to fade. She vividly recalls the moment she first encountered the screenplay, describing it in breathless terms as the funniest script I had ever read. In an industry saturated with formulaic teen comedies and predictable rom-coms, Fey's work was a breath of fresh air, a satirical scalpel dissecting the brutal hierarchies of high school cliques with humor that was equal parts savage and empathetic. For Caplan, who was in her early 20s at the time, navigating the choppy waters of post-college auditions and bit parts, this script wasn't just entertaining, it was a mirror to the absurdities of youth, a chance to channel her own wry observations into something timeless. "I wanted to be in it so bad," she confessed, her voice carrying the weight of that youthful hunger. It wasn't mere ambition, it was a visceral pull, as if the role had been waiting for her all along. But the path to Janis wasn't a straight shot. Like countless aspiring actors before her, Caplan entered the fray at the ground level, compelled to audition for the film's two central roles. The naive newcomer Katie Heron, immortalized by Lindsay Lohan, or the Queen Bee antagonist Regina George, brought to life with icy perfection by Rachel McAdams. This was standard casting protocol for a project of this magnitude, a Tina Fey penned vehicle backed by Lorne Michaels' production prowess and directed by Mark Waters, with a budget poised to make waves in the early 2000s teen market. Everyone, from fresh-faced unknowns to established names, had to prove their mettle in the glaring lights of the audition room. Caplan threw herself into the process with the fervor of someone who knew this could be her big break. She prepared meticulously, dissecting the characters' motivations, practicing lines until they flowed like second nature, and channeling the awkward energy of adolescence that Fey so masterfully captured. The initial rounds were a whirlwind of nerves and adrenaline. Casting directors, under the watchful eye of the production team, sifted through a sea of hopefuls, narrowing the field with clinical precision. Caplan remembers the callbacks as a sorting mechanism, where actors were funneled into specific lanes based on their chemistry reads and initial impressions. It was here that Janis emerged as her true north, not the leads, but the outsider with the biting sarcasm and unflinching loyalty, the girl who saw through the plastic facades of North Shore High. Yet even as she pivoted toward this role, resistance loomed large. "I went in and they were resistant to casting me," Caplan revealed, her tone laced with the dry humor that defines her on-screen persona. Whispers from the studio suggested a different direction. Kelly Osbourne, the reality TV darling with her signature purple hair and punk rock edge, was floated as a potential Janis. Osbourne's celebrity cachet from the Osbournes made her an appealing get, a name that could draw tabloid buzz and MTV viewers. But Caplan, undeterred, saw the mismatch immediately. Janis wasn't about shock value or inherited fame. She was a nuanced rebel, a voice of reason wrapped in alternative flair. What followed was a masterclass in proactive auditioning, a move that blurred the lines between performer and producer. Caplan, ever the innovator, enlisted the help of a Canadian hairstylist friend who understood the transformative power of visual storytelling. Together, they embarked on a guerrilla-style makeover session, scouring the eclectic shops of Hollywood Boulevard for props that could evoke Janis's signature aesthetic. Dark wigs cascaded over her shoulders, heavy eyeliner sharpened her gaze, and layers of thrift store black clothing completed the ensemble. They snapped Polaroids and digital shots, crude by today's Instagram standards but revolutionary in their intent, transforming Caplan into a living embodiment of the character. These screen grabs, as she called them, were fired off to the casting team like ammunition in a one-woman campaign. It was a bold gambit, one that screamed, "This is Janis. And I am her." In an era before self-tapes revolutionized the process, this DIY approach was Caplan's way of cutting through the noise, forcing the decision-makers to see beyond the headshot to the potential star beneath. The length of the ordeal remains a blur in Caplan's memory, a testament to how all-consuming it became. Weeks stretched into months, each silence from her agent a dagger of doubt. She balanced the waiting game with other gigs. Small roles in shows like Tristan plus Isolde or guest spots that paid the bills but did little to quench her thirst for Mean Girls. Friends and mentors offered encouragement, but Caplan's drive was self-fueled, rooted in a belief that this role could redefine her trajectory. She imagined the scenes: Janis's explosive cafeteria takedown of Regina's inner circle, her heartfelt guidance to Katie amid the Halloween party chaos, the quiet vulnerability in her friendship bracelet moment. These weren't just lines. They were opportunities to infuse the film with authenticity, to make Janis the emotional core for audiences grappling with their own high school scars. Then, like a plot twist in one of Faye's scripts, victory arrived via a simple phone call. Caplan can still pinpoint the exact spot where she stood, perhaps in her cramped Los Angeles apartment, surrounded by dog-eared sides and half-empty coffee mugs, when her agent delivered the news. "I got the part," she repeated, the words hanging in the air like confetti. Elation washed over her, pure and unadulterated, the kind of joy that actors chase through 1,000 rejections. How many times has that really happened to you in your career, that you just want to celebrate and it's nothing but exciting? She mused to Badgley. In a profession riddled with compromises and near misses, this was a unicorn moment. No caveats, no strings, just the thrill of creation. Landing Janis didn't just launch Caplan's career, it etched her into pop culture lore. Mean Girls, released in 2004, grossed over $129 million worldwide on a modest $17 million budget, spawning quotes that echo through TikToks and classrooms alike. Caplan's Janis became the blueprint for the sassy best friend archetype, blending snark with heart in a way that resonated across generations.